I only spent about $30 at the grocery store the last 5 days to feed my family of 5, and I'm gonna tell you exactly how I did it. Honestly, I think this is something we all can do and probably should do from time to time, and that is utilize the stuff that we already have on hand and heavily limit going to the grocery store, at least for a short time. I have been making these pantry challenge videos for years, so let me tell you a few things I have learned that I think have helped me be successful with this. First of all, I really have to resist the easy road urge. It's a busy week, and today I'm feeling like just a little blah, kind of like under the weather. We've had like a really weird allergy season here. And I thought, well, I've got to run into the store later on to grab a couple of snacks that McKenna can take to her track meet tomorrow. So I'll just pick up like a rotisserie chicken and a Caesar salad kit and maybe some rolls or a loaf of French bread. And then I thought, wait a second, just hold on, Mindy. I went to the refrigerator, and sure enough, in the veggie crisper is an entire package of romaine hearts that I purchased over the weekend and that need to get used, and also half a jar of Caesar salad dressing. Plus, out in the freezer, I know I have some chicken breast, and it's early enough in the day that I can thaw those out and either throw them on the grill later or even just toss them into the crock pot with a little seasoning, cook them up on high, and then shred them up. So I have all of the stuff to make chicken Caesar salads tonight. I don't need to go out and buy those things. I am gonna pop this loaf of ciabatta bread in the oven from Wild Grain. I thought that would go really well with our salads. And I have this olive oil that was gifted to us at Christmas. It's like an infused olive oil that has herbs and spices in it, and I think it's really good like over the top of the bread or like to dip the bread in. And this is where these pantry challenge weeks really come in handy for me, because it's easy for me to do the default mindset of busy mom, just grab what works really quickly, and sometimes we have to do it that way. But when I'm making an effort to use things up, it's almost like an extra step I go through in my mind to ask myself, do I really need this, or is there another really easy meal? I mean, this isn't gonna take that much work on my part to throw together, that I can make with stuff that I already have on hand and avoid spending that money in the grocery store. Nope, not for you. Sorry. It's because he's not allowed on the counter. Nope, 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 nope. Get it, Pippin! Nope. Here's the situation I am dealing with today. I need to go pick one kid up from school, bring him home, go to a neighboring town to pick another child up from a track meet she's been at all day long, bring her home, and then immediately take the boy to a baseball game at 5:15. My husband is out of the house for work. He'll be gone all evening and won't be home until late. I definitely think today warrants an emotional support Reese's egg. That'll get the brain going. So as I was out and about running some errands this morning, I immediately thought, oh, I need to just pick something up for dinner. I need to just grab like some chicken sandwiches from Chick-fil-A, or grab like a take and bake pizza that the girls can pop in the oven later. And then I thought, okay, wait, hold on. I'm standing in the pantry, which still has plenty of food, thinking about something easy that my two oldest children, who will be home while I'm at the ballpark, and they're 16 and 13, something that they can easily throw together for dinner. And I remembered that I had this. I normally do not like jar Alfredo sauce. Jar pasta sauce, there are some brands that I think are really great, but jar Alfredo sauce, I haven't found a really great one yet. But I have not tried the Rayo's brand, and I ordered this in a Thrive Market order recently. I also have plenty of pasta, and my girls can easily boil some pasta and heat up some sauce. We have a little bit of leftover chicken from the Caesar salads last night. Plus we have like some chicken patties and chicken tenders in the freezer, like the Just Bare kind that they can toss into the air fryer if they'd rather have those. I can scrounge up some veggies from the freezer, or I have a couple of cans of green beans here in the pantry. And that should be a really easy meal for the girls to throw together, for them to eat, and also that will be ready when my son and I get home from the baseball game. So you might be recognizing by now that some of this exercise is really just about mindset shift. It's about coming up with a different way of solving a problem than the easiest way. It would be really easy for me just to like run through the drive-thru or pick up like a heat meat item at the grocery store. But instead, I know there are some things here in my pantry that we can prepare quickly for a meal, and I won't have to spend that extra money on the easy problem solution when there's something that is almost just as easy readily available. Now, one thing I would definitely make a trip to the store for if I was out, even if we're in a pantry challenge, is coffee. But thankfully, we are not. Thanks to my trade subscription, I always have some freshly roasted coffee beans coming to my doorstep. They are sponsoring today's video, and they have an offer for you if you want to try it out. One of the things I love about Trade is that they're not selling you their own coffee. They're connecting you with top roasters all over the country, many of them small businesses that I might never have an opportunity to discover otherwise. With a Trade subscription, you take a little quiz, and they're going to ask you, whether you drink your coffee hot or cold, whether you are looking for whole bean coffee that you grind yourself or coffee that's already ground, the kinds of flavor notes that you like, light roast, dark roast. And then they're gonna match you with coffees that they think that you will enjoy, and then they will send them to your doorstep at the frequency that you request with your subscription. And they have over 500 coffees that they have curated, so there is always something new to try, or if you discover one that you really like, you can just go into your subscription and you can request that one again. Let's see what we got this time. Ooh, one from Huck. I've had a few coffees from them. Yummy. Personally, I'm a hot coffee drinker, even in Oklahoma when it's like 100 degrees outside. But if you are a cold coffee drinker or you just want to give cold brew a try, Trade has everything you need. Plus, they roast the coffee beans right before they ship them to you. So you are not getting coffee that has been sitting on a store shelf for weeks or even months. You are getting freshly roasted coffee. It is Thursday, March 5th, and this bag of beans just came in the mail. I just pulled it out of the mailbox, so I'm going to open it up and see when it was roasted. March 2nd. That would have been Monday. So 3 days ago, they roasted these beans and packaged them, and they arrived in my mailbox today. That's amazing. Right now is a great time to try Trade coffee because they're offering up to 30% off new subscriptions at drinktrade.com/cmindymom. Again, that's drinktrade.com/cmindymom to get up to 30% off a new subscription. drinktrade.com/cmindymom. During these pantry challenges, I am trying to use it up. I am especially looking for open or partially used packages, or those items that I keep overlooking or avoid using for some reason. This Kodiak muffin mix has been in my pantry for a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and make these up. I'm a little short on like snacks, like post activity or sports practice snacks for the kids this week, or breakfast items. So hopefully if I make these up, they will eat these this week. I mean, usually that's how it works. If I make it, they will come and eat it. I added a tablespoon of vinegar to the milk that these muffins call for in the recipe. That's kind of like a buttermilk substitute, and sometimes it helps make the baked goods a little more moist. Plus I have one overripe banana. I think I'm gonna toss that in there too. It says this makes 12 to 14 muffins, and since I added stuff to the batter, I added a banana to the batter, I feel like I had to get out my like silicone baking cups because my muffin tins were totally full. These pantry challenges are an opportunity for me to get creative. Sometimes I need to think outside the box or try something new to use something up. And the internet is full of ideas. I can go to Pinterest or Google or various social media platforms and enter in like specific ingredients and get all kinds of ideas for ways that I can use that. I did purchase some lunch meat and cheese slices and grapes for the kids' lunches this week, in addition to, whatever we have hanging out in the pantry and the fridge that we're trying to use up. But we have already eaten the loaf of bread that I made at the beginning of the week, so I'm gonna make another, but I'm gonna try out a recipe that uses whole wheat flour, part whole wheat, part white flour, because I have this bag of whole wheat flour that's been hanging out in my pantry open for several months. It's left over from my attempts to make sourdough. I was using it to boost my sourdough starter. I don't have quite enough for the recipe, but I think I'm going to just use some oats, some rolled oats for the whole wheat flour that I don't have. I need about a cup or so of rolled oats to make up for the amount of whole wheat flour that I'm missing, and hopefully it's gonna turn out okay, and it'll be a great loaf of bread for sandwiches and toast for the rest of the week. We try to do this all the time, but especially during a pantry challenge, eat our leftovers. Most of my husband's and my lunches consist of leftovers, and actually as our kids have gotten older into junior high and high school and they have access to microwaves in the cafeterias at their schools, they've even started taking leftovers for lunch as well. Not only have I already spent money on this food, I have spent time preparing it, so I want to do my best to make sure that as much of it as possible is consumed. I always seem to have a few singleton items in my freezer, you know, like little individual portions of leftovers that I have frozen, or a single item from a package that had several in it. So I have been making an effort to use some of those up this week. Today I am having salmon for lunch. This is the last little salmon fillet from the freezer, and I just cook it in the air fryer. I'm eating it with some green beans, and then I usually put some of this balsamic glaze on it. So delicious. And it's gonna get this out of my freezer. Pantry challenges are a good opportunity for me to take inventory. How many times have we discovered those freezer burned hamburgers that we saved after that 4th of July barbecue a couple of years ago? Or a bag of chips or crackers that went stale hiding behind the cereal boxes. This is a great time to make sure that things are not forgotten at the bottom of the chest freezer or the back of the pantry. I found this seasoned pork shoulder from Aldi in my freezer. So I'm gonna thaw that out just a little bit and then toss it into the slow cooker on high and let it cook for several hours until I can shred it up. From the pantry, I have some rice that I can make up and some beans, just some black beans. And I also have half a bag of tortilla chips. And in the refrigerator, I don't have any like shredded cheese or block cheese, but I do have half a jar of queso that we can use. And then this is like a jalapeno lime ranch sauce. I made this for a recipe that I just featured in another video, so this might be really good to use up drizzled over the top of some burrito bowls for tonight, using just odds and ends that I have partially opened and some things from my pantry to help out. Plus, I almost always find surprises when I'm making an effort to use things up because I'm digging deeper into my inventory. I was rummaging through this basket that I keep in my pantry of like spices and seasoning mixes and just kind of odds and ends just to see what I had, and I found, of all things, look, a little package of gummy bears sitting in here. Yay, me, little afternoon treat. It's also really important in a pantry challenge, as in many things in life, to ditch the perfectionism. I'm not perfect. We are not perfect in this household. We do not always get to every morsel of food before I need to throw it out. I have produce or perishable items that spoil before we get an opportunity to use them, or sometimes there are just items that for whatever reason we're not eating them. Maybe it's something we tried that we didn't like and I get tired of it taking up space in my pantry and just chuck it. We just try to do the best we can and then move along. There's only a few strawberries, like 8 or 10 like little bitty strawberries at the bottom of this frozen berries bag. It's taking up space in my freezer. So what I'm gonna do is just drop these into my water, and I'll put some ice water in here, and basically I'll have like berry diffused ice water, and I will get this package out of my freezer that's been in there with just a handful in it for I don't know how long. In addition to the lunch packing items that I mentioned earlier in the video, I grabbed some applesauce pouches and granola bars and crackers for like track meets and baseball games and, you know, activities that the kids were going to where they needed snacks. And I also picked up a bag of shredded Parmesan cheese for the salads, and we also used it on top of the pasta that we made that one night. So I ended up spending just $30.36 on those grocery items this week, which is a lot less than I would spend in a typical week if I was thinking about just getting a week's worth of groceries for my family. Plus, I tidied up the pantry and we cleaned out the refrigerator and the freezer, and so there's plenty of room now for a fresh grocery haul to come in, and I've made a little wiggle room in my budget, so I might be able to spend a little extra on maybe some items from Sam's Club or maybe some special items if it's a holiday. I am just a regular mom out here trying to tame the chaos in my household. I am not an expert in anything, so I hope there was something inspirational or helpful in this video. Thank you again to Trade Coffee for sponsoring. They're linked in the description box below, so go and check them out if you haven't already. YouTube thinks you might want to watch one of these videos next, and if so, I'll see you there.